Ahoy friends, welcome to Building the Alpha Dory. I'm Dan and this is a project to build a Chamberlain Alpha Dory. Today we're going to be out in the shop trimming the plank we put on last video and getting the next plank ready to hang on the boat. Let's get out there and get to it. Okay, so last video we were putting on this #1 strake, and yeah, you can see that got a nice fit up here. This will be closed up when we rivet the planking together. But yeah, we're going to trim this plank to accept the next plank that's going to overlap it. Alright, so I'll show you how we're going to do this, and like I was describing before, we're going to be finishing this stem in a sort of old-fashioned way, where we put one plank over the end grain of the other plank, and then everything gets trimmed to end up with a sharp cutwater on the bow there. So what we need to do is trim this plank so that the next plank will fit it. And the way we do that is maybe a little bit odd. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up along the bevel for along where the bevel for this next plank is going to fall onto this plank. So it's actually going to end up with a little bit of a reverse cut in the plank. And I'm following the other plank's course. Alright? So that's how we got to get in there. And I'm going to trim right up and bring the saw at the same angle that plank bevel will be at, right up to the stem. And I'm going to start at the stem, and I'm going to cut down to meet that bevel. Now this I'm going to leave a little bit proud, because the angle we've got cut here may not be the final angle that this plank comes in at. So I'm going to leave a little bit so I can plane everything to just the right angle. I'm keeping the saw parallel to the plank that's coming in below it. And you can see how the fact that I'd already done that undercut meant that this plank didn't break off any wood from what we want to keep. So you'll see that made a kind of notch in the plank where the plank comes out parallel to the plank below it, and that's going to fill in what would otherwise be a gap. And you'll see how that works out when we lay the next plank on there. Okay, so to clean up the stem, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the plane and sight along where this lower plank is coming in. And we're going to trim the stem to accept the plank coming in at the angle of the top edge of this lower plank. And then we're going to start trimming the plank on the far side. To do the same thing. So that's coming close to looking pretty good. I've got an angle like this which is matching the plank below it. And then I'm cutting the plank we just put on to match that angle. So now you can see that the plank on the far side is very close to the angle, close to the surface of the stem. So when that next plank comes on, it'll lay smoothly along it across its length. Alright, so next thing to do is to get ready to rivet this lapped strake. So, like I was saying, last boat I built was Centennial. Last lapped streaked boat was Centennial about 4 years ago. So, I'm pretty sure that the 1/4 inch, sorry, 1/8 inch drill going to be too big. Yeah, is going to be too big for the rivets we're using. So this is pine, and you know, I don't want to be able to push the rivet through the planking by hand. I want a little bit tighter hole than that. So what I'm going to have to do is, these smaller drill bits are pretty prone to breaking, and especially when you're doing laps where there's a space between, or movement between the lap and the plank below it. Now I'll put a kickstick in there to tighten things up before I start drilling. But even so, these drill bits this small are just, you know, that's what they do, they break. So, on my way into work, I'm gonna have to pop by the hardware store. And I think I'm down to either my last or next to last 1/8 bit. And then I'll get a 764s while I'm in there. Get maybe 3 or 4 of those, and that should do me through this boat at least. So, and that'll give a good hammer tight fit through the for the rivet through the planking, because that's what we want. You don't want to be able to push it in with your thumb. So have to hold off on the actual riveting for today, I guess. But we can trim the plank we just put on at the transom and see how it goes. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm going up to the Hyman's tent sale.
Oh, wow.
Is there anything you would like in the line of shoes, boots, pants, shorts, jackets, parkas?
Not that I know of.
Really?
I don't know, maybe I'd go up to the Hyman's tent sale if they've got stuff up there at some point. Maybe you can kind of reconnoiter. Maybe I'd go up and look at shoes, but